All right. Welcome, everyone. Blessings to everyone. It's 6 o'clock on the dot. This is Pine Grove News Live and live from the East Coast. Yep. East Coast, Southern New England, Northern Connecticut, in the Valley. That's where we're from. So, the only notes I got for today, very interesting anyway. Today, I guess Yellowstone, and we want to talk about earthquakes. Okay, so Yellowstone apparently 173 to 80, 183 earthquake swarm. They've had what was it? I'm going to say 100,000, but that seems too much. It's got to be more than 1,000. I think I actually saw 100,000 earthquakes. Um, anyways, it's something we need to pay attention because remember I said on Friday, and let me go point this out, open this up. Well, before we do that, let's do this as well. Let's go to the Fair Use Act page and let's go over to YouTube and see if we're live, which we are. So there we have it. Got the Fair Use Act. Remember I said I was going to read this over the weekend. It's called the Cascadia white papers. And I'm looking at page 1, the title, The Volcanic Processes That Will Release the Cascadia Megathrust Earthquake, have been underway for roughly 8 months. Now, I was supposed to read this and kind of get it over to Dutch Sense somehow so that he could take a look at it. I haven't listened to him in probably a month or so, so I don't know what he's doing out there. You know, it's hit or miss go over there. He's always got a live page, but he's not always live. And I wanted to drop this. This is a PDF file. I gave you a link to that Friday. So if you go back to Fridays, 2 days ago, I believe it was 2 days ago, and get that Cascadia link there in the white papers. Basically, what I got out of this, and there's some good data in here that I wanted to go research. But the main thing I got out of that is apparently, now I don't know when exactly these white papers were purchased or made up, typed up, but he gives a warning on page 4 of this Cascadia mega release to be within 3 to 6 months and a year at the latest. Now, he was on Marfugal News, and that was see, I put the papers out on Friday, so he was probably on Marfugal News a day or two prior to that. So, and he had to type up all these 9 pages. So it's probably been a week or two. But there's just a lot of interesting things in here. I wanted to go research it because there are other fault lines, and he does talk about the San Andreas too. And what's interesting with that is that I would just threw out there just what do you call it, an assumption, my opinion on if the Cascadia ever did go, that it would take the San Andreas fault and that would go too, and probably all the other fault lines south of the San Andreas. And he's talking about other fault lines here, like Garlock fault. Let's see, where's that? We're supposed to be watching. There's an array of volcanoes along the Cascadias and something like that that he got this research from. Uh, so, with without going without reading, I'm going to read the rest of it tonight. I will read the rest of it tonight. Um, only 3 more pages, but I basically get what he's saying there. And of course, and you'd have to go verify the research, but um, anyway, could do that, even though he's done the research. That's why I wanted to hand it off to Dutch Sense. He may have done the research already, and I can verify it with him. But all I can tell you is, people, I mean, with all these fires and other things that have been going on in California, besides the fact that, we talk about Agenda 2030, Jade Helm, all that stuff, um, this agenda they got to push everybody into mega cities and wherever they are, just condense us into, smaller area where they can control us. What if they're pushing everyone away from the West Coast because they know what's going to happen? You know, anyways, and then we can go and talk about all the coffin liners or whatever you call them that have been buried and in the ground and being stored for some reason in certain areas of the country. You remember those things? They could fit probably 3 to 5 bodies in one coffin liner. Just call it a coffin liner. It may be just that, where you could throw, good amount of bodies in one coffin and seal it, because they got the lids for them too. So that would suggest that not only that they're mass death somehow, but that maybe they need to seal the coffin for some reason, some kind of contingent. I do not know. But I'm just going to go, let's see if I can get to that page 6. 2, 4. So, okay, here's where I saw the between 3 and 6 months and a year at the latest. This is a developing faster than I expected, it says, and this may be shortened yet further based on new data. So go read the papers. Get educated on it, especially if you're over there on the West Coast, man. You really need to be, you should be already more educated than I am. There's all kinds of prophecies and assumptions and opinions that somewhere along the line, the East Coast is going to experience a water event. Who knows where that's going to come from? I mean, could they go and trigger over there? What is it? Canary Islands, that volcano that we were talking about. That's half of it's slipping already. If that goes into the ocean at one time in one big slump, just like the one in Hawaii, they got a slow slip one there too, because we heard about that when the volcano was erupting. Or was that last year or the year before? And they were watching that one because that lava flow was getting close to that area. If either one of those go in, and it's been said that this has definitely most likely happened in the past, these water events, these tsunamis. So if the Canary Islands, if that volcano goes off and slides into the ocean there, that's the one they're talking about that could be a problem for the East Coast. Tsunami waves, I've heard as high as 100 feet tall, but whatever, you can't really predict that. It happens. It happens. Then you'll find out, right? So I got that out of the way about the volcanoes and the earthquakes. Wonder if there. What else do we want to do here? Because I couldn't find much news tonight. Believe me, it's a lot of junk out there, and I probably got a couple of junk articles in here, and I don't have much. But I do want to put this out there too, because this may be something that may also be going down and trigger, this actual ground war that may be waiting to take place in Iran. With their government threatening the U.S. again. The U.S. supposedly on the borders. So just from breaking Israel news, Iran threatens crushing blow to the U.S. Israel for interference in uprisings. Threatens crushing blow. Yeah. And they got this Ezekiel 27:10 from the Israel Bible. Men of Persia, Lud, and Put were in your army, your fighting men. They hung shields and helmets in your midst. They lent splendor to you. Whatever that means. Ezekiel has always been, one that I haven't been led to quite understand fully yet, as well as Daniel and Revelation. But there's a lot out there anyway. So, with that, we have this one also from Breaking Israel News. U.S. General hints at war with Iran as U.S. troops mass on border. Now, see, I don't know what's going on with this because the last time I checked, there were only 1,200 soldiers. Of course, that could be lie, propaganda, or whatever anyway, because why would they tell us the actual amount of soldiers that are in a country or near a country? They wouldn't do that. No. So anyways, yes, the U.S. has been beefing up its military presence surrounding Iran while at the same time strengthening channel of communication with Israeli military base. In any case, folks, we still have our country in the midst of an impeachment trial and, demons just on the loose everywhere. The Patriot Act. I mean, there's a lot in what I got. I mean, the Patriot Act goes along with some of the things that I've been listening to today. I got a couple videos that I'm going to play some of it, not all of it, but I will leave the link. Which one do I want to give you? Well, I'm thinking Patriot Act and what goes along with that. I'm trying to figure out where that one went to. Oh, actually, yeah, actually, I do have that link still available right here. So if you look at it, there it is, Marfugal News, and oh, it doesn't give you that link, just cuts off the number. That's the problem we had the last time. But I can go there and have that link up there for you. I'm sure you want to leave YouTube. Yeah. Come on. Okay, so we're at Marfugal News. Remember, go to marfugalnews.com and go in there. This is the link. When you're in there, all the way down the bottom of the page, like I told you before, down here, the Cascadia white papers, and download it. So I made that available, so it's important, especially for those people over on the West Coast, like I said, to read that and go see Dutch Sense and see if he's got anything that he needs to tell you all. So, yeah, there was a lot of things out there today about the Patriot Act and the spying that's going on, the TV that is programming us and our children. We do, the generation, my son, his generation. Of course, when I was growing up and I had, young adult having my children, yeah, we used to sit down at the table, but then they came out with TV dinners and TV trays, and we all sat in front of the TV. His generation, it's all tablets and iPhones and stuff like that. And I remember my granddaughter at probably, what was it, 2 years old, 3 years old, getting handed a tablet. Then and then there you have it. I mean, we're talking about, just remember the spine comes in the tablets, comes on your TVs, your smart appliances, your refrigerator, your stove, whatever, dishwasher. It's all spine. It's all to keep track of you and what you're doing and where you are and so on and so forth. And for what reason? Well, we're still trying to figure that out for the most part. I know that the rich and elite want to get rid of a lot of us, at least according to the Georgia Guidestones. Number one command of their 10 commandments is to bring the population down to a manageable 500. Maybe we can go look that up. Let's go look up Georgia Guidestones. Yeah, here we go. Georgia Guidestones. And let's let that load up. What does it say on the Georgia Guidestones? Go. Rule passion, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just costs. Yeah, that's not the number one. Let's see if we can. Come on, give us. Oh well. There you go. Here's the 10 Commandments right here. Number one: maintain humanity at 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Well, I'm telling you, killing 6 billion people is not keeping in balance with nature. And I don't know, who they've got the nerve to do this, yet go and mess with Mother Nature. They're GMOs in our foods now. They're geoengineering our weather, which is totally messing up the jet streams, the ocean currents. Yeah, guide production wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Well, guide production wisely. What are they doing? They're spraying the skies with chemtrails, with chemicals, um, fluoride, and other poisons in our tap water. Why do you think that they're making laws about us not being able to collect our own rainwater or store our own water? Because they want to be they want to give you the water. They want control of everything, including you. That's above all, and especially your children, because then the future is theirs. You unite humanity with a living new language. What do you think that might be? What language are they talking about? Is that the beast system? Anyway, well, enough of that talk. I don't want to go there. Didn't want to go there, but remember this all also with our food, okay? I didn't want to put any of this out there, but brother over there, World Watchman in Northern California, he's been on this uh I don't know. He's been on this all day about this food and the fillers in our food. We've talked about that before, um, about all these prepared foods. Yeah. And, where do they go? I know China handles a lot of this, and and I didn't want to get into that story. But this is what I'm talking about with the food, the way that they are putting things in our food or using fillers and other things to either enhance the flavoring of our food, and none of it is any good for us. Will Watchman was into this wood, excuse me, this wood pulp thing, this cellulose. Okay, and we went and looked up definition of cellulose. Okay, it's a insoluble substance which is the main constituent of plant cell walls and of vegetable fibers such as cotton. But I wish you would have read, it's in this article, somewhere down here as to what actually this cellulose does for us. Let's see, not down that far. Here we go. We can try this one right here. Cellulose adds fiber to the food. Yeah, yeah, it's plant-based, which is good for people who do not get the recommended daily intake of fiber in their diets. Um, it also extends the shelf life of processed food. Plus, cellulose's water-absorbent properties can mimic fat, allowing consumers to reduce their fat intake. Anyway, I mean, that's probably the best part of the cellulose. Of course, World Watchman's telling me about the cellulose and that, yes, while it is wood pulp, and we have found out, well, at least World Watchman has told me, I trusted that he had information or articles on, because he was, he knew that I was buying Parmesan cheese, that in the shakers and in your store. And I've heard from him that they put sawdust in that Parmesan cheese that you shake on, say a spaghetti dinner or whatever you want to put the Parmesan cheese on. And so, anyways, more filler, put less cheese, real cheese in it, and fill it with sawdust as a fiber substitute. I mean, they've been trying to control the food that we eat for a long time. And for what? Not for our benefit, that's for sure. That's one thing I've learned about our government. They don't do things to better us. They do things to better themselves and their rich counterparts. Yeah. So 15 food companies that serve you wood. I haven't seen that yet. There's also a recent class action lawsuit brought against Taco Bell. Raised questions about the quality of food many Americans eat today. So let's see if we can find what other companies that put this wood pulp, and you go read it on the directions. He says that if you go and look at these the ingredients on your products that you buy that you may think to have cellulose in it, it will say that it has cellulose in it. I'm going to go check my grated cheese later on if I can remember right up to this. Let's see. Chief among those concerns is the use of cellulose as an extender whose use in a roster of food products from crackers and ice creams to puddings and baked goods is now being exposed. What you're actually paying for and consuming may be surprising. I mean, look, I heard about the GMOs. They actually mentioned that on TV. And I remember my youngest daughter was, probably 2 or 3. So that was, 30, 35 years ago, you know? Um, and that was General Mills. And I'm saying, did I just hear that right? And then I kind of just brushed it off and never remembered it again until the past few years doing the news. So I don't know in what we're doing, falling asleep here and allowing these people and the FDA to approve this stuff to put into our food under the guise of prolonging and, you know, shelf life anyway for our food. I don't know. Has man ever done anything good, really? Everything that he He may start out trying to do something good, but it always ends up going bad. Always. I mean, heard the story of the first atom bomb. That guy, the scientist came over on that project, high jump, I think maybe it was. Oh, paperclip, it was called. Operation or Project Paperclip, where they brought all the scientists from Germany over. That's how we got basically caught up and were able to finish the first atom bomb before Japan did. So, yeah, it says right here, cellulose in food as an extender, providing structure and reducing breakage. Some of the other reasons that they put this in certain products. Processed foods and meats meant for human and pet consumption, as well as plastics, cleaning detergents, welding electrodes, pet litter, automotive brake pads. This is the stuff that can be used for these things as well, and we're allowing them to put it in our food. I mean, yeah, glue, reinforcing compounds, construction materials, roof coating, asphalt, and even emulsion paints. That's the cellulose. It's not the stuff that's in your, in your legs behind you or hanging from your butt, the little wrinkles there. That's something else. That's cellulite. Uh, in any case, cellulose. Believe me, I asked the question. That's why I'm saying it. So, yeah, so there's a lot of things that they put in our food, and I don't know why the FDA is there to approve something like that. If they're there to approve something like that, they're not for us. When I was growing up, I was always assured that the FDA was going to make sure, because they approved it, that meant that it was safe for us to eat. It's not safe. And just like everything else they put in our foods and our water and our air now, it doesn't kill us right away. It will definitely kill us later. Right after we've, you know, um, right after we've done all that we can do to pay our taxes and other things that we're paying for that goes directly to the government. Bailing out the banks. What about the people? Bailing out the insurance companies, who are the ones that make all the money. How did we ever agree to that? That was the Obama era. And a lot of these things, were just asleep. We're not sure how to, fix these things. First of all, we can't fix these things. I would say, whether you're a Christian or not, go pray. We need to pray for this. So if you ever, had an inkling or used to know God or know God now, but not a Christian, you just know God, the way you like to know God, go pray because you're going to need it. Because you, your children, and your children's children are all going to be used and they're all going to be enslaved. We are enslaved. If you don't think that you're not enslaved, you're obviously been deluged. You have a delusion and can't get out of it. So there you have it. I wanted to make sure that got out there because my brother spent most of the day looking into that. Of course, you didn't read to me the fact that that I read you that it was actually fiber. It's a fibrous thing, and fiber's good for you. So apparently he says, and I'm just going on his word now. I have two articles that he gave me. But apparently bread, okay, they're putting 30% of this cellulose into flour and stuff like that. 30%. That means 1/3 of your loaf of bread is sawdust, as he put it. So wood pulp for dinner, FDA approved. Yep, cellulose is a form of wood pulp. You may see it on food labels in many forms, such as cellulose gum, powdered cellulose, microcrystalline cellulose. FDA regulates food industry products, lists cellulose as safe for human consumption. Okay. Even more interesting, the government does not set any limit on the amount of cellulose that can be used in food products. However, the USDA, who regulates meats, limits cellulose fiber in meat to 3.5%. How can they add that anyway? Huh? Anyway, we won't get into that. Shelf life. Yeah, extends the shelf life of certain foods. Crackers, ice cream. I just read that. But there's a list down here. There are some of the companies that use this. Okay. General Mills. I mean, they started out with the GMOs. Now they got, Pulp. I mean, so that just means, and according to my uh, conspiratorially minded brother in Northern California, yeah, they've probably taken all the rest of the products that are real and they brought it down into bunkers. I mean, you imagine the amount of stuff that they're saving from putting these fillers in. Um, I mean, heck, that would feed 1/3 of the population. And do you think that 1/3 of the population is going underground? Is it that big? I know it's big, but anyway, it's assured. The bunkers are there to assure the continuity of government. I agree with that, whether it's our government or everyone else's government. And then, of course, you got the elites and the people who, are doctors and scientists, and got to have mechanics down there too. Can't get rid of them. Engineers, those are the most important people. You remember, didn't wasn't it in 2012 at the end where they had those three arcs that took all the important people? Anyway, here's go. These are the other companies. General Mills, Fiber One ready to eat muffins. Kellogg Eggo, Cinnabon pancakes and snack bars, Morning Star Farms, chicken patties and veggie wings. Kentucky Fried Chicken's popcorn chicken and cornbread muffins. Kraft thick and creamy mac and cheese. I mean, here they go, folks. McDonald's fish fillet, McRib, Caesar salad, strawberry sundae, McFlurry, Nestle hot cocoa mixes, Aunt Jemima syrup and frozen blueberry pancakes, Pizza Hut, Yum Brands, Sara Lee, Jimmy Dean. I eat a lot of Jimmy Dean, man. Frozen breakfast bowls. I eat them all the time. But you know what? I'm praying over, I eat a lot, so I do forget sometimes when I put food in my face. Sometimes I just start wolfing it down. I had to stop in the middle of a chew or something to go and pray on it, man. You just got to pray over your food. The Lord knows that this is going on. He's not going to let you be poisoned and killed. No, I'll go read Psalms 91. I mean, any case, pray over your food. Pray that the Lord blesses it and takes all the bad things that, can go wrong for you out of it and put in good things because there's nothing the Lord can't do. And he makes a lot of promises for you and your health and longevity and everything else if you follow him and walk, that long, narrow road that you're supposed to be on, the straight and narrow. Taco Bell corn tortillas, Southwest chicken, caramel apple empanada, Weight Watchers vanilla ice cream sandwiches, English toffee crunch ice cream, Wendy's, Arby's fat-free French dressing, blue cheese crumbs, and the list goes on. For this, you know, so most unfortunate. This is what we come to. Remember, folks, there's a war out there. There's a war going on between good and evil, between Um, well, it says we war against principalities, uh, powers that be. Um, it's a spiritual battle. The flesh is going to die anyway. You all know that. It can't go into heaven. Your fleshly body will not go into heaven. And yes, I know you all want to hear that you're all going to be raptured out of here, so nothing will come to you. Okay? Well, I'm sorry, folks. I mean, yes, we will be raptured out of here. We will not have to go through God's wrath, but we are to go through tribulation. Jesus said so. Now, we're not, I don't believe that we have to go through great tribulation, and we're definitely not going to go through his wrath. We are not appointed to it. No way, Jose. Mm-mm. But I'm telling you, man, you tell me. You tell me whether or not you have not gone through tribulation in your life yet. You haven't gone through any? We want to talk to you. The whole Christian nation wants to talk to you. If you have not gone through tribulation, you tell us. We want to know. Inquiring minds want to know how you were managed somehow to not have tribulation. As the beginning, well, Matthew 24 talks about, times of sorrows. That could be it as well. But Jesus said tribulation. He just didn't say sorrows. But there are different degrees that we have to, times that we go through. And I don't know if Jacob's trouble is the same thing as the days of sorrows, which is what I believe he was talking to his apostles about. And maybe that was for him, and maybe it was for us. I mean, it's all a spiritual battle. So I believe that, many of the stuff, even in the Old Testament, that happened then, we need to be aware of. That could happen to us. In any case, let's see if we can get some other crazy news out here. Uh, oh yeah, this. You hear this from the Jerusalem Post? Is the Bible right? Newly discovered fossils show snakes had legs. Yeah, yeah, we were talking about that. I put out a video on Saturday. We went over the book of Adam and Eve, book one. We read chapters 1 through 15. And yeah, we talked about, Satan, and it's in Genesis and in the canon as well, the King James Version, that God punished um, the serpent by telling him that he would have to walk or slither or crawl on his belly for the rest of his life, eating the dust of the ground. Well, everybody knows that apparently that serpent had legs and was walking prior to that and had speech. Yeah, I believe that Adam was able to talk to the animals. I believe that wholeheartedly, in one form or another, whether it was through, telepathy, mind, um, or verbal. But the Bible says that he was endowed with speech. So I assume that so were the beasts, but that's just an assumption. It doesn't say it. At least I don't remember it. If anybody remembers it, let me know. So, as described in Genesis, the snake also received divine punishment. You will crawl on your belly and eat dirt all the days of your life. God tells the serpent, implying that before the event, the animal had legs similar to many others. Apparently, they found these fossils. I mean, I only see them showing the head part, but I can't read that. I would have to blow it up. Let's see if I can do that. Yeah, a little better. No, that's still showing the skull. can download a high-res image, download PowerPoint. Let's see, skull, partial skull. I don't see him pointing to any legs. Vertebrae and ribs, dorsal view, partial skull. Anyway, let's bring this back down. So, it's just interesting news. And this just reminded me, this guy. We got a little video about this guy too, and I'm just thinking of playing the whole thing, but I'm not sure. This is from End Time Headlines. Toronto calls preaching to homosexuals hate activity, evicts Christians from the city facility. You can't preach to them. Hate. Yeah, I saw this coming. Yeah, they're going to consider whatever we do, the preaching. That's probably why eventually they're going to take away the Bibles. Somewhere in the Bible it says that the word, people will be looking for it and will not be able to find it. The word, the Bible, will be gone. That they would be looking for someone that knew. Anyway, that's something I want to be more assured of what I'm talking about. And yeah, this one. So anyway, this is the headline. This is from the Free Thought Project. The headline reads, "Woman facing prison will have to register as a sex offender for being topless in her own home." Okay, so we'll go down here and read part of the story where it picks up. So, anyways, according to Buchanan, she and her husband had been installing drywall in the garage and both decided to take off their shirts to get the itchy dust off of them. As NPR reports, when her stepchildren, aged 9, 10, and 13, walked in, she explained she considers herself a feminist and wanted to make a point that everybody should be fine with walking around their house or elsewhere with skin showing. That's what her lawyers wrote in the court document. But because there were 3 children who saw the horrifying image of a topless woman in her own home, Buchanan is facing 3 charges of lewdness involving a child. Utah's lewdness statute deals with everything up to the act of raping a child, criminalizes exposure of the female breasts below the top of the areola in the presence of a child in a private place under circumstances the person should know will likely cause affront or alarm. That's just something, man. So it was in the privacy of my home. My husband was right next to me in the same exact manner that I was, and he's not being prosecuted. Yeah, that is, I agree. That is a problem. I don't understand. Men can take off their shirts. Well, you know why? Obviously, you know why. Because with women, they're just, in a lot of cases, or most cases, there's more that women um, have, I guess. But it's also considered um, part of the sexual organs, I guess, part of the sensuality, part of the arousal state for a woman, and it is for men, obviously. I don't know how it works with women for men because men get to walk around with their shirts off, and I don't agree with that in a lot of cases, especially when you get to be my age and you actually do have, breasts, as bigger than normal. Uh, Gravity eventually takes its course and, you know, shrinkage. In any case, so that's just crazy. I mean, things like that just shouldn't, you know, you shouldn't be involved. Government. I mean, but it's true though. I mean, I've heard of somebody. I don't never knew him, but I heard a story of, I believe it was a man who was stopped. I don't know if it was stopped on I don't know what the circumstances were, but he was partially hidden and he was obviously relieving himself. As a lot of us, um, I have, go along the highway, you pull off, you get behind the car and you try to be, unseen, and there's no bathrooms around, no trees, uh, just a car, and you go. And if you're arrested for that, at least in my days, you weren't arrested for that. Now you are arrested for that. And this guy did go on the sex offenders, list. He was listed as a sexual offender on the list with all the other ones, the ones who deserve to be on it. This is crazy, crazy times we're in. We're all equal, and I don't know, it's so confusing. It's confusing for me. Anyways, we'll talk about that some other time. This one we got to be aware of too, because I heard that the Bahamas are expecting a big outbreak to come at any time. They don't have it down there, I don't think, but they are expecting it because there's planes that come in and out of there from different countries. This Ebola outbreak, an international emergency, according to Voice of America, and it's a video. And I didn't look at the video. I'm just going to leave that there for you. All I know is that there is another outbreak of the Ebola. And, man, what did I hear? I wish I studied it more. I don't get much time to do the vetting before I have to go because I work full time. So I get hour and a half, maybe 2 hours sometimes a lot less than that to research a lot of this. But I listen to a lot of stuff during the day, so that's why you're going to get a video or two here too as well. But I'll play some of it and I'll leave the links to the rest of it. The Ebola, I mean, if you want to read about the latest Ebola, because I don't know where the articles are, but I've mentioned his name before. He's gone a little crazy and talking about Antarctica all the time now. All these things that he sees in the shadows. But Florida Maquis, when he starts talking about Ebola and other things, he's pretty good at it. Does his work. So this one, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about this guy, Kanye West, however you want to pronounce it. For months, I did not follow this story at all. Didn't want to. Just wanted to see what evolved from it. And I know he did something about it, maybe Friday or maybe Wednesday of last week, where it just seems like he's that wolf. Seems like he's more of that wolf in sheep's clothing. There's a lot of things about him. Now I don't know if it's his fault or not, whether he's, because I was brought to the wrong places too. I've told you that before. I thought I was called to some place, went there, and I learned what I needed to learn, and I had to get out of there because I knew what it actually meant. So, certain way that the Lord brings some of those things to me. In any case, that's the door alarm, of course. But this one from A Call for an Uprising. They need more proof that Kanye West is a wolf in sheep's clothing.
If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. This is an important video if you actually care about all this stuff going on with Kanye West, because I have multiple things to show you that have occurred in the last week or two about Kanye West. And it's not just the obvious, which was him performing with Joel Osteen. It's deeper than that. And I want to thank my subscribers on my website for posting a lot of this stuff and helping me work on this. You know, finding stuff, including backmasking, which I'm going to show you. It's really great having you guys over there. You know, it's great to, it's almost like you're working with me, like we're working as a team to find this stuff. And you guys are just as important as this type of stuff. I'm no more important than anyone else. I hope everybody will check out the website, let alone the videos. And soon I'm going to probably be exclusively posting my videos over there, because Kanye West performed at Travis Scott's concert festival, whatever it's called, Astro World. Okay, now Travis Scott is a professed Satanist, by the way, and this was only a week before he spoke at Joel Osteen's church, and you know, his album has already been released, Jesus is King. And what I find interesting is that here you have this guy who's now professing that his whole life is dedicated to Jesus, and before he goes on stage, you know who goes on stage? That's right, the lowest of the low, Marilyn Manson, who, I mean, this is just embarrassing. This guy's in his 50s acting like this. He comes out, he performs all of his, you know, songs from the 90s, which nobody wants to hear anymore. And what does he do right on stage? He burns the Bible. Now, look.
Yeah, and so that's where I'm going to leave that as well, too. I've already heard this today. It's only 13 minutes long. If you know, to be sure that obviously you're not deceived in any way either. So we are to expose these. I mean, Ephesians, I guess, 5:10 or 5:11 tells us to, you know, expose these people. And if you got all these people like Marilyn Manson and other people still surrounding Kenya or Kenya or whatever how we pronounce it, that's not cutting it. Yeah, I know there's people following him too, and let's pray for those people who are, you know, misled and following him, that they, you know, see these things and recognize these things. Let's pray for them, you know, the ones that are supposedly saved from this. Let's hope at least that can be done. There is one video here that I do want. Yeah. Actually, there's two, but I'm going to leave links for the both of them. This one is very important that you listen to at least the first 20 minutes of this 58-minute video. First 20 minutes talks about the Pope and their mother Mary, the Queen of Heaven, and the Pope who goes around, you know, all the popes, a lot of popes they talks about here, and they're kind of saying that some were saying that they are taking over for Jesus Christ, that they're on level ground with God, and they can change the Bible and all this stuff. That's in the first 20 minutes. It's very important that you read that. But I wanted to include this as well. This is from Shaking My Head Productions, and actually it's got some good information in the beginning, but the part that I want some people to listen to is this last part, 28 minutes in. And I'm going to play it for a minute or two, maybe to the end. It's only 7 minutes to the end, but we'll play it. I should know when I could stop.
If you notice here, it says Q is a clearance. Okay, it has to do with clearance. Q is access authorization for the Department of Energy. Okay? So, Q, Anon, or anonymous, Q is supposed to be about clearance. Okay? So, this information that's coming out, that's coming through so-called Q, I think it's kind of interesting that also this is this has to do with clearance, okay, which has to do with data. That's pretty interesting. But what's even more interesting than that, and I wonder if anybody else out there has connected these dots, is that IBM just announced their Quantum Q System 1. You think that's a coincidence?
How does this situation look? I have one word for you, Robert. Double plus ungood. The world populace of 7.4 billion are all headed in the direction of Orwellian totalitarian oblivion. My voice is hoarse, yelling about stellar winds, cold chilling them and trap wire weaving through the world wide web we all dwelling in. Face it, the all-seeing eyes in all of our Facebooks like a virus, and in these iPhones with Siri, or should I say Iris. Next in line is RFID devices and mind chips triggered by chemtrails. The plague spray the sky.
Anonymous is also another word for unknown. I may know that. Q, unknown.
Q, anonymous.
You start connecting the dots to CERN, and you understand what we read about in the book of Acts, the unknown God. And they're already worshiping AIs. Folks, do you see what's going on here? Somehow, this beast of a network, computer network that's being set up, somehow it plays a part in all of this. There's no question. No question. And don't you find it strange that one of the leading companies out there that works with now they used to be at odds. They actually used to be against each other. Now they're working together. IBM and Oracle. Do you think that's kind of strange?
Meet Oliver and Cathy. Aren't they cute? Cathy got a little overexcited making her lasagna surprise and forgot to turn off the oven. Surprise! You know how there's a limit for how long you can put off car maintenance? Well, Oliver didn't.
Come on!
Hear that? That's how this air conditioner with a failing capacitor cries for help. Of course, if no one listens...
Have you seen this?
And when the appliances revolt, guess who Cathy and Oliver are going to blame? This guy. Bless his heart, he's trying so hard.
Can you hang on one second?
But there's only so much he can do with outdated technology. Well, plot twist, this whole nightmare never actually happened. It was all avoided by a team of connected devices and a fully automated service center. I'm Athena, their loyal virtual assistant. Rather than Cathy and Oliver not taking care of us, we're taking care of them. Remember my smoking oven friend? Well, he and others like him have been sending data back through the service organization. And product development found that ovens were left on by a lot of owners. So Mr. Oven got a genius upgrade that does this. So Cathy, Oliver, and the smoke alarm can sleep tight. As for the car... Hello, Oliver.
Hey, Athena.
I just wanted to inform you of a few maintenance items we need to take care of.
Oh, yeah, good catch. Let's schedule a technician for maintenance.
Great. Consider it done. Oh, and my buddy the AC unit was able to notify the service center about its capacitor all by itself. They sent a field tech to fix it without Cathy and Oliver ever breaking a sweat. But we didn't stop there. We adjusted the security system, taught Cathy about conserving water with her washing machine, and took care of all kinds of other issues before they became, you know, issues.
Athena, set temperature to 68 degrees and close all windows.
Okay. So now that the Olivers and Cathys of the world are all taken care of, the folks at the service organization can focus on making the customer experience even better.
Athena, can you send me the results of the oven firmware updates on the TC17s?
Sure, Chase. You also have 3 minutes until your executive meeting to discuss new automation.
All right, awesome. Tell me a joke, Athena.
Okay, why did the service manager cross the road? He had old technology and couldn't automate it.
Try harder, Athena.
How about this? 2 muffins are sitting in an oven.
We need to definitely try to stay in touch over the emails and that kind of thing. And I do have a number of people who subscribe to my email list. And that's the way they do that is that they go to my website at truthsetfreetv.com, and then they subscribe to the email there. And then I can contact you and get in touch with you and that.
All right, well, that has nothing to do with what we were listening to. But the beginning of it, I mean, right in the middle, there's other strange things that have happened that probably should listen to, especially at about, when they start talking about fake news and stuff right in the middle. And it goes into some some game. I don't know, it's an Xbox game or whatever it is, but they go through a conversation as well. And it's all about, collecting data and throwing out useless information and programming us. Just like they've learned to do it with the DNA and the CRISPR and all this other, it all comes down to, let's see, it all comes down to this. I mean, we're all going to live in this utopia, right? Windows, doors, lights, your everyday life, just absorbed into some AI, and you'll be in some mega city, living with, millions of other people, and life will be just grand, won't it? Like the jet scenario. Maybe we'll just have vehicles, or maybe you won't. Maybe you'll be able to walk to everything. You won't have to worry about vehicles. You'll push a button on the oven and out will pop these, blue cube, round circle, purple oblong, whatever. And that's your food. It's not Soylent Green. That's really food with all the nutrients that you need to live, right? Maybe they'll fill it with some cellulose. Bulk it up so that you will at least feel full. So this one, like I said, the first 20 minutes, go listen to. First of all, I'm going to put this and maybe the other two on my Facebook page later on tonight, so that you can go in there and select that individually instead of going to the links or whatever. I'm just making it available later on there in Facebook while I'm out there posting the video. So we've already gone way too long. Just remember that this talks about your popes. This end is talking about Mary and the worship that we're supposed to, according to the Pope, give her, which is not true.
Visited Poland and told all of the young people in the audience to, quote, believe in a new humanity.
¿Cuál, María? Una maestra de vida espiritual. Appuentón, una santiña a quien se recorre, para obter favore, abaixo.
The Pope said.
Oh, there you go. Maybe I'll just put it in another video so that you can listen to it. I'll point you to, here's where I get it from. End Time Productions. Listen to a lot of their stuff now. Pretty good. So, I'll just leave it at that right now because we're too long. Maybe I'll just put it out there again later. So with that, everyone, it's Monday, and I know it's Thanksgiving week. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll be home Thursday to do some more news. Actually, I don't do news on Thursday, do I? Well, maybe I'll put something out. Who knows? And I just want to apologize for anybody who listened to Saturday's second part to the Adam and Eve book, because I was terminated, cut off by Mixler, saying that I reached a limit, which I did not. Just got their email back from that incident. They claimed that they were right, but in any case, I just needed to apologize for that, because we're going from chapter 15 on, but I'll have to do that again. Maybe Thursday, maybe over the weekend. So God bless everyone. Have a great evening. I will be back Wednesday, if not sooner, unless something happens. So keep each other in your prayers. Don't forget all the lost people out there. They need to be prayed for. They need to be awoken. And I know that's up to the Lord, but we can pray that, I don't know, that it ends our suffering from their suffering. And that, I don't know. We just need to pray about a lot of things. With that, everyone, keep your family close. Keep them safe. Know where they are at all times. Just in case. God bless and peace out.